What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another video, and today you're gonna know everything you need about the World Cup. Billions of people, every single country on earth glued to their screens. Strangers hugging in the streets, grown ass adults weeping openly, and nobody judging them for it. That's not the apocalypse, that's the FIFA World Cup. And whether you've watched every tournament since 1930 or you literally just heard about the soccer for the first time last Tuesday, this video is for you. We're going deep, the history, the format, the greatest moments, the drama, the controversy, the legends, and everything in between. So buckle up, this is the complete story of the greatest sporting event on planet Earth. Let's start at square one. The FIFA World Cup is an international soccer or football, depending on where you're from, tournament held every 4 years, where national teams from around the world compete for the most coveted trophy in the sport. Not a club, not a team built with money and contracts, a nation, your country, your flag, your people. That's what makes it different from everything else. When Brazil plays Argentina, it's not just 11 guys on the pitch. It's decades of rivalry, culture, pride, and pure sporting passion colliding in 90 minutes. The tournament is organized by FIFA, the global governing body of soccer, founded in 1904 in Paris. Currently, FIFA has 211 member associations, more members than the United Nations. Let that sink in. Soccer is quite literally more universal than global diplomacy. The World Cup happens every 4 years for a reason. It gives teams time to qualify, build squads, and make each tournament feel genuinely rare. A player might only get one shot at it. A fan might only see their country qualify a handful of times in their lifetime. That weight, that rarity, that's exactly it hits different. Let's rewind to the beginning all the way back to 1930. Before the World Cup existed, soccer was already the world's most popular sport, but there was no single global competition. The Olympics had a soccer tournament, but only amateur players could compete, which basically left out anyone who was actually good. Enter Jules Rimet, the president of FIFA and the man with a dream. Rimet pushed for a standardless World Cup, open to professional players, held in neutral country, and in 1930, the first ever FIFA World Cup took place in Uruguay. Why Uruguay, you're asking? Because they were the reigning Olympic champions and happened to be celebrating their centenary as a nation. They also offered to pay for everyone's travel and accommodations. Honestly, a solid pitch. 13 nations showed up. Only 4 made it from Europe, mostly because the boat ride took 2 weeks and nobody wanted to make the trip. Uruguay beat Argentina 4-2 in the final. Home crowd, home glory. The trophy was named the Jules Rimet Trophy, a golden goddess standing on an octagonal base. Now, the early World Cups were interrupted by a little thing called World War II. The 1942 and the 1946 tournaments were cancelled because when soccer came back in 1950 in Brazil, it came back with a bang. Brazil built the Maracanã Stadium, the largest in the world at the time, holding over 200,000 people. They were unbeatable. The nation was already celebrating before the final. Then Uruguay walked in and won. The result was so shocking, so devastating for Brazilians. It became known simply as the Maracana blow. Some fans reportedly died of heart attacks in the stands. It remains one of the most stunning upsets in sporting history. From there, the World Cup grew. More teams, bigger stadiums, global TV coverage. In 1966, England hosted and won. In 1970, Brazil returned with perhaps the greatest team ever assembled, winning in glorious, flowing style. Their golden trophy was theirs to keep permanently, having won it 3 times. But someone stole the Jules Rimet trophy in 1983. It was never recovered, probably melted down, a sad end for a legendary piece of hardware. FIFA replaced it with the new trophy, the one you see today, solid 18 karat gold 6.1 kilograms, worth millions, and kept locked in a vault in Zurich when it's not being kissed by crying champions. Okay, let's talk about the structure. How does the World Cup actually work? Step 1, qualifying. Years before the tournament even starts, countries battle through their regional qualifying competitions just to get a seat at the table. FIFA divides the world into confederations: UEFA for Europe, CONMEBOL for South America, CAF for Africa, AFC for Asia, CONCACAF for North Central America and the Caribbean, and OFC for Oceania. Each confederation gets a set number of spots in the tournament. Europe historically gets the most because European football is the most competitive. South America is close behind. Some countries qualify easily, others scrape through playoff games that feel like World Cup finals themselves. For smaller nations, think Iceland, Trinidad Tobago, Senegal qualifying is already a triumph of generation. Step 2, the group stage. The 32 qualified teams, soon to be 48 from 2026 onwards, but more on that, are drawn into 8 groups of 4 teams each. Every team plays the other 3 teams in their group. Win 3 points, draw 1 point each, lose nothing. The top 2 teams from each group advance, the bottom 2 go home. It sounds simple, but the drama in those final group games is absolutely unreal. Teams doing math in real time, needing specific results, sometimes deliberately playing for a draw. It's chaotic and beautiful. Step 3, the knockout rounds. From here, it's sudden death. Lose and you're on a plane home. Round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, third place match, and then the final. If a knockout game ends level after 90 minutes, you get 30 minutes of extra time. Still level, we go to penalty shootouts. The most nerve shredding, stomach dropping, possibly unfair but utterly compelling way to decide anything in sports. A single penalty kick, the goalkeeper guesses, the shooter hopes, millions of people watch through their fingers. Countries have been defined by penalty shootouts. England losing them famously became almost a nation tradition. Italy, Argentina, Germany all have their story of glory and heartbreak from the sport. The 2026 change, starting with the 2026 World Cup, hosted jointly by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, the tournament expands to 48 teams. More countries get a shot, more stories, more upsets. Whether it dilutes the quality is debated, but more nations involved. That's a win for the global game. Now let's talk about the dynasties. The teams that didn't just win, they owned eras. Brazil, 5 titles: 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994, 2002. The most successful nation in the World Cup history. Brazil is synonymous with the beautiful game. Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game. Pelé, Garrincha, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Cafu, Roberto Carlos, legends who play with a joy and artistry that made you forget you were watching a sport. Their 1970s side is widely considered the greatest team ever. They didn't just win, they danced through the tournament, playing football that looked choreographed. But Brazil also carries wounds. The Maracanã in 1950 and in 2014 on home soil, one of the most humiliating losses in history. Germany, 4 titles: 1954, 1974, 1990, 2014. If Brazil is about flair, Germany is about efficiency, organization, relentlessness, never giving up. Germany has never had a bad World Cup. They're always there, always dangerous, always organized. The 2014 title, capped by, capped by Mario Götze, extra time winner in the final, was a masterpiece of a campaign. Oh, and they beat Brazil 7-1 in that semifinal, in Brazil in front of 70,000 stand Brazilians. That game has a name too, the Mineiraço. Italy, 4 titles: 1934, 1938, 1982, 2006. Italy World Cup story is one of the tactical genius and operatic drama. The 1982 squad, led by Paolo Rossi, was arguably the most entertaining Italian side ever. The 2006 team won amid the Calciopoli scandal back home, with Zinedine Zidane hit butt in the final adding surreal cinema to the mix. France, 2 titles: 1998, 2018. France on home soil in 1998, a nation divided by immigration politics, unified by a football team that looked like France, diverse, dynamic, brilliant: Zidane, Thuram, Henry, Desailly. And then in 2018 in Russia, a new generation: Mbappe at 19, becoming only the second teenager in history to score in a World Cup final after Pelé. Breathtaking. Argentina, 3 titles: 1978, 1986, 2022. We'll talk more about the 2022 in a second, but Argentina 1986 triumph in Mexico was essentially Diego Maradona carrying a nation on his back and refusing to put it down. One man, one tournament, immortality. Soccer is a team sport, but a World Cup has always had individuals who transcended it. Pelé, the name, the legend, 3 World Cup titles: 1958, 1962, 1970. The youngest ever World Cup winner at 17. He scored 77 goals for Brazil and possessed a combination of skill, power, vision, and sheer footballing intelligence that no one has fully replicated. Some debates close themselves. Diego Armando Maradona, 1986 in Mexico. Argentina vs England, the quarterfinals. Within minutes of each other, Maradona scored the most controversial goal ever: the hand of God. The handball he cheekily denied. And then the goal of the century: a 60-meter solo run past 5 defenders and the goalkeeper that was voted the greatest goal in the World Cup history. In one game, back to back. Pure cinema. Ronaldo Nazario, the 1994 and 2002 World Cup winner. In 1998, the mystery of Ronaldo having a seizure before the final and still playing remains one of the football's strangest stories. In 2002, he came back from career-threatening injuries to score both goals in the final. The smile after that final whistle. Iconic. Lionel Messi. For 2 decades, the debate raged: Messi or Ronaldo, and can Messi be the greatest without a World Cup? Then came Qatar 2022. Messi at 35, in what everyone knew was his last dance, led Argentina through one of the most dramatic tournaments ever. The final against France is widely considered the greatest World Cup final in history: 3-3. After extra time, Mbappe scoring a hat-trick, Messi scoring twice, a brace, everything riding on penalties. Argentina won. Messi lifted the trophy. The debate for many was over. The greatest of all the time has completed the sit. Kylian Mbappe. Speaking of the man who scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final and still lost is something else. Mbappe is here to this whole thing, fast enough to make defenders feel embarrassed, clinical, confident. He's the World Cup present and future. Let's run through the moment that stopped the world. Italy vs Brazil, 1982. Group stage: Italy was nearly eliminated from the group stage. Then Paolo Rossi, scoreless all tournament, suddenly couldn't stop scoring. He got a hat-trick to eliminate the brilliant Brazilian side in what many call the greatest match ever played. Cameroon 1990. The giant killer Cameroon beat Argentina, the defending champions, in the opening game. Rogi Milla, 38 years old, danced on the corner flag after scoring. Africa announced itself to the world that summer. America England 1950. A goalkeeper called Bert Williams, a striker called Jose Gatins, a result that was so shocking some European newspapers thought it was a typo and reported it as England 10-1 USA instead of the actual 1-0 loss. Zinedine Zidane's headbutt. 2006 final France-Italy, extra time, Zidane possibly the greatest player of this generation, headbutts Marco Materazzi in the chest, red card, his last ever professional touch of football. France lose on penalties, the headbutt heard around the world. Germany 7-1 Brazil 2014. We've mentioned it before, but it deserves its own paragraph. Brazil, their home World Cup. They hadn't lost at home in 39 years. They went 5-0 down in 30 minutes. The images of Brazilian fans openly weeping, unable to comprehend what was happening, are burned into football history. Qatar 2002, Morocco's run. Morocco became the first ever African nation to reach World Cup semi-final, beating Belgium, Spain, Portugal on the way. Their players celebrating with their moms on the pitch, the fans in the stands, across Africa, across the Arab world, united by something magical. Sports doesn't get more beautiful than that. Look, the World Cup isn't all goals and glory. There's a shadow in this story too. 1978, Argentina Dirty Tournament. The 1978 World Cup was hosted by Argentina under a military dictatorship. A human rights group protested, some teams considered boycotting. Argentina won the tournament on home soil. Controversy around the result against Peru, where Peru needed to lose by a certain margin and, and did exactly that. It has never fully gone away. Corruption in FIFA in 2015. The FBI indicated 14 FIFA officials of charges of racketeering fraud and money laundering. Long-term President Sepp Blatter resigned. It was a scandal that shocked the entire sport. Bribery over hosting rights, kickbacks, backroom deals. The beautiful game had an ugly side. Qatar 2022. The human cost the 2022 World Cup in Qatar was historic. The first in the Middle East, the first in November, December, but the awarding of the tournament was mired in allegations of bribery, and the construction of stadiums led to significant scrutiny over the treatment of migrant workers, with human rights organizations raising serious concerns. These things don't go away because the football was great. They're part of the story. So after all of that, the history, the legends, the drama, the heartbreak, why does the World Cup actually matter? Because it's bigger than football. In 1969, El Salvador and Honduras fought a war, literally a 4-day war, partly triggered by a World Cup qualifying match. Sport and geopolitics colliding in the rawest way possible. In 1995, Nelson Mandela wore François Pienaar's jersey at the Rugby World Cup to unite the post-apartheid South Africa. The World Cup does things like that. When Senegal beat France in 2002, the reigning champions and Senegal's former colonial rulers, it wasn't just a football result. It was something deeper, something that meant everything to an entire generation. The World Cup is the moment where the world, fractured, complicated, arguing about everything, agrees to watch the same thing, to care about the same story, to share the same moment in time. That's impossibly rare and impossibly precious. So there you have it. From Jules Rimet dream in 1930 to Messi lifting the trophy in Qatar. From Pelé at 17 to Mbappe scoring a hat-trick in a losing final. From the Marcanazo to Menirazo, from corruption scandals to moments of pure, transcendent beauty. The World Cup is the most human event in sports. It has everything, joy and pain, triumph and injustice, heroes and villains, nations united and divided in the space of 90 minutes. Every 40 years, the world stops and watches. And if you made it this far, now you know why. See you next June.